My name is Doug Levine, and I'm one of the geography teachers at Long Road, and I just wanted to spend a few minutes or so just talking you through the summer work. I've taught geography for over 25 years now at either degree level or at A level, and I just wanted to explain why we set the summer work as we do, which is all based, as you'll see in a minute, around the topic of carbon. I'm going to share my screen with you now and just put a copy of the summer work up on the recording, if you bear with me for a second. Okay, so here it is. Here's the summer work, and it's not a huge amount of writing we want you to do, but we would like your writing to be in full sentences. A lot of the geography that you'll be doing over the course of 2 years in college will be longer written pieces, so we just want to have a little look to see what your writing style's like. There are 3 questions, and they're all based around the topic of carbon. There's a reading that you need to do, which is linked in this first question here, the global carbon cycle. It's an article from the University of New Hampshire, and it introduces you to some sort of a key terminology, and that's a very important part of this task, is actually to do the reading first of all, because I think we've all done work on the carbon cycle earlier on in school, either at GCSE or in geography, but we just need to sort of up the level a little bit. There's a few technical terms and ideas that we want you to sort of work your way through. Okay, so once you've done the reading and thought about the carbon cycle in maybe a slightly more advanced way, we want you to answer a set of questions. They're based around a resource, figure 2.2, which is below here, and it's all about the stores of carbon and the flows of carbon, and we just want you to start talking in these terms. So if the carbon remains in a part of the Earth system, we call it a store. If it's flowing between 2 different parts of the Earth system, we call it a flux or a transfer. So a flux, flow, transfer, but we'd like you to use the word flux. So we're wanting you to identify the stores and the fluxes and start to use that sort of terminology. And of course, I'll be checking for things like you understand that you need to use units, and the units we use are petagrams of carbon. Peta is an extremely large number. You put 15 noughts on the end of a number to create a peta. So a petagram is a gram with 15 zeros after it. It's also known as a gigaton, for those of you that have come across that maybe in science as well. But the point is, we use these huge numbers because there's such a large amount of carbon in the atmosphere. So when it gets to part C, again, explain the relative importance of terrestrial, atmospheric and oceanic stores. We found in the past that sometimes people have confused the terrestrial stores with the geologic ones. So the terrestrial stores are not the stores in the rocks, and again, just watch out for that one there. Also, you know, I'll be quite interested to see how you tackle this idea of relative importance. You could tackle it in terms of size. Some of the stores are much larger than others. You could also tackle it in terms of what the importance is for instance, life on Earth. You know, that's quite important to us all, is that there is carbon for life on Earth, and some of these stores are maybe more important than others. So, you know, just remember this idea of relative importance is is significant. And you're just focusing on the stores there. D is to do the same job, but the fluxes, the flows. Often the better students, or the students that answer this question better, talk about the size, but they also talk about what the carbon does and how important it is for maintaining life on Earth, for instance. The last question, question E, which is the geological carbon stores and the balancing of the carbon cycle. That's what we call the long-term carbon cycle. It operates over many millions of years. So I'm really wanting to get an idea of how carbon is tucked away as rocks over millions of years, and how those rocks eventually outgas the carbon from the rocks, eventually from volcanoes and other processes, eventually ends up back in the atmosphere, but maybe millions of years later. That's a very important part of the carbon cycle as well. We call that the slow carbon cycle. So once you've done those questions and written your answers, which you'll sort of hand in on your first lesson in college, you also need to have prepared for a bit of a discussion we're going to have on an article I've linked from the BBC, which is all about the current events at the moment. We're seeing a huge decrease in carbon as the pandemic just closes the world down. Our big globalized world has closed down, hasn't it? And I want you to really start to think about, actually, what does this mean for the future of our relationship with carbon? Because of course carbon is the thing, is the element that we've been putting huge amounts of it into the atmosphere and creating climate change. That has slowed incredibly during the pandemic. But what will happen next? And what we have to do in geography is we have to look at these things and we have to think about the different potential future scenarios. And that is what I want you to look at there in summer work. Okay, and here I am back. So that's it really. We've also given you a document with some extension materials in it. There's so many interesting videos and links, and I know that some of you have got really bored over the last couple of months, and you're really interested in the world and how we should manage it. Well, have a look at some of those links. It's not just reading, there are lots of videos and there are lots of articles like Vox, for instance, or videos like Vox that will give you really good explanations of things that are going on in the world. There are lots of human geography and physical geography topics there, so that should be very interesting for you. So I hope my quick run through has given you an idea of what you need to tackle for the summer work, and I hope you also understand that there are some other readings and links should you want to take things a little bit further before you start your geography course. So really looking forward to seeing you in September, and stay safe and see you in September.